I was about to ask something, but I totally just forgot it. Dang it. But it was a good one though. It was a really good question too. Something that I'm very interested in seeing how it goes down is, obviously with restrictions and these overlays and like everything else that are having to be put in place in the mortgage industry right now. Obviously, that's going to slow down the amount of homes being purchased. It's going to change some things. So I'm interested in seeing like what the flip is going to be to make the market explode again.
I think both of our markets are so resilient that what's going to change, what's going to create that change is going to be us, people, right? When we feel, I mean, the markets, I've always said this, I don't care who's the president. I don't care what's happening with the stock market. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? The people out here, us, all of us, we are so much stronger than any market that will produce, that any government can control. We control so much. So as people are confident in going outside, spending their money, confident in their jobs, everything will work itself out. And when we come out of it, though, there's not going to be a market indicator, a decision by the Fed or the president that will stop us from spending money, from changing the trajectory that we're on right now, than just our ability to be confident in ourselves and the world around us and spending a dollar. So all I can tell you is what I do every day is I get up and I try to find loans.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to find a loan and I try to find the next loan and I try to find the next loan. I'm not trying to make this as difficult. I don't want to make this any more difficult than that. How do I find my next loan? And then how do I find the next one? And then when I get that one, how do I find the next one? So when you're making phone calls, don't worry about when they're buying. Just find the next one. Make that next call, hang up, get them going on your searches, get them tied to you as a client, get them excited and motivated, get them to the lender to get pre-qualified, and then move to the next one. And eventually that builds that pipeline. Action creates results.
Are you doing anything differently as far as locking people's rates because out of speculation where things are going to go, like, oh, things could be really good tomorrow?
No, I mean, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at I listen to all of our analysts. I mean, I have some great analysts that feed us information on a daily basis, and then I watch the markets minute by minute, and we look at where the bond market's trading. Usually, you could see a correlation between the stock market and the bond market. If the stock market's up, that means money's flowing into the stock market, which means bonds are not getting fed money, which is driving the bonds down and interest rates up. That's what usually would happen. But right now, we're not seeing that correlation. So whether the stock market's up or the stock market's down, we're not so much concerned about that because the Fed is buying so much of the mortgage-backed securities that it's it's keeping the bond market up and interest rates down. So what I'm really looking at is we usually trade, you can say we trade in ranges, right? And I've always maintained a philosophy: you lock at the top of the range and float at the bottom of the range, because these are called ceilings and floors. And as we reach a floor at the bottom, you typically can bounce off that floor to go back up to either the middle or towards the top of the range, unless there is a lot of negative news out there that could feel like your ceiling could get your floor and ceiling can get readjusted down, and that's when you definitely take precautions. The same way if you're up here at the top, you kind of see what positivity is out there in the marketplace, and could there be enough positivity to reset the ceilings and floors? Right now, I mean, we're in a what I would call a pretty good sideways trading range for some time. We do get a little bit of market movement in the bond market, and so it's not so much driving interest rates driving a different interest rate. It's just really driving the cost to get an interest rate. We're not really seeing interest rates go from 3.125 to 2.875 on a 30-year fixed. It's just not doing that right now. It's just going to remain, I think, stable until there's an indicator out there that's put forth that we're getting back to normal. And that's when the Fed stops buying. And that's one of the key indicators you got to watch is when the Fed stops buying mortgage-backed securities, it's probably going to start changing the way interest rates are going to start reacting. So if you follow the 10-year Treasury, I would look at that, and if you start to see that thing moving up closer to 1%, that's when you're going to start to see interest rates probably adjusting up as well.
I have a question. It's David. Thanks for doing this interview for us, man.
Yeah,
My question is, okay, so I'm a buyer, and I said I want an interest rate at 3.8%. So say, I want 3.8, and the market is at, 4.1? What is your process of getting 3.8?
Well, regardless of where the market is, whether they want 3.8, they want 3.125, it's really just a conversation, and it's showing them the cost analysis, the cost benefit analysis of going to 3.8 versus 4.1, right? So I have people that when we talk to them, they'll say this is a short-term move. Okay, great. So it's a short-term move. So what does that mean? 2 years, 5 years? And then we look at the cost to get that rate versus the non-cost to get the other rate. And then I lay them out side by side, and I show them that one is going to be better than the other. And it's only going to be better based on the basically total cost analysis.